The year 2025 began with a scene of terrifying beauty. The skies were painted with hues of orange and red, a stark contrast to the usual serene blue. Wildfires erupted across Southern California, igniting the dry brush and spreading rapidly through the hills. Flames danced across the landscape, fueled by powerful forces. The dry conditions and strong winds created the perfect storm for these fires to thrive. These were not ordinary fires, they were harbingers of a new era, a time where fire reigned supreme. The intensity and frequency of these wildfires were unlike anything seen before. From the majestic slopes of the Palisades to the sprawling suburbs, the flames spread with astonishing speed. Entire neighborhoods were engulfed in a matter of hours. Driven by hurricane-force winds, the fires quickly grew from manageable blazes to raging infernos. The winds carried embers miles away, sparking new fires in distant areas. Communities watched in horror as their homes and livelihoods were consumed. Families were forced to evacuate, leaving behind everything they owned. The January 2025 wildfires were not merely a disaster, they were a stark reminder of nature's power and humanity's vulnerability in the face of a changing climate. The charred remains of homes and landscapes told a story of destruction and loss. As the smoke cleared, the true extent of the devastation became horrifyingly clear. The once vibrant communities were now reduced to ashes, a somber testament to the ferocity of the wildfires. California has always been a land shaped by fire, but the fires of 2025 were different. They were amplified by a confluence of natural factors that created a perfect storm for disaster. The Santa Ana winds, notorious for their ferocity, howled down from the mountains. These dry, relentless winds acted like bellows, pushing the flames forward with astonishing speed. Gusts exceeding 100 miles per hour turned small embers into raging walls of fire. Years of persistent drought had turned the once lush landscape into a tinderbox. Vegetation was parched and brittle, providing ample fuel for the flames. The combination of wind and drought created conditions ripe for unprecedented fire activity. While natural factors played a role in igniting the inferno, the fingerprints of human activity were undeniable. Climate change has tipped the scales, creating hotter, drier conditions that exacerbate wildfire risk. The planet's warming has led to more extreme weather patterns, including prolonged droughts and intense heat waves. These conditions create a tinderbox environment where fires can ignite and spread with terrifying speed. Sadly, human negligence and malice also played a role. Arson, whether intentional or accidental, was responsible for igniting some of the most destructive fires. Downed power lines, a consequence of aging infrastructure and strong winds, provided additional sparks that ignited the dry landscape. The aftermath of the fires was a scene of unimaginable destruction. The once vibrant community now lay in ruins, a stark contrast to the lively neighborhoods that stood here just days before. The air was thick with the smell of smoke, and the ground was littered with the charred remains of what used to be homes and businesses. Thousands of homes were reduced to smoldering rubble, leaving families displaced and traumatized. People wandered through the debris, searching for any remnants of their former lives. Personal belongings, family heirlooms, and cherished memories were all lost to the flames, leaving a void that could never be filled. The fires did not discriminate, consuming mansions and modest dwellings alike. Whether it was a grand estate or a humble abode, the flames showed no mercy. The destruction was indiscriminate, leaving a trail of devastation that affected everyone in its path. Entire neighborhoods were transformed into ghost towns as residents fled for their lives. Streets that were once bustling with activity were now eerily silent, with only the sound of the wind and the occasional creak of a collapsing structure breaking the stillness. Businesses, large and small, were destroyed, dealing a devastating blow to the local economy. Shops, restaurants, and offices that once thrived were now nothing more than piles of ash and twisted metal. The economic impact was profound, with many wondering how they would ever recover. The fires left an indelible scar on the landscape and the lives of those who called it home. The natural beauty of the area was marred by the blackened remains of trees and vegetation, a constant reminder of the disaster that had unfolded. The emotional toll on the community was immense, with many struggling to come to terms with their loss. Tragically, the fires claimed the lives of 10 people, a stark reminder of the human cost of these disasters. Each life lost was a story cut short, a family left to grieve. The community came together to honor the victims, holding memorials and vigils to remember those who were taken too soon. The loss of life served as a somber reminder of the fragility of life in the face of such unstoppable forces. The bravery of the firefighters and emergency responders was evident as they risked their lives to save others. Their efforts were a beacon of hope in an otherwise dark time, showing the strength and resilience of the human spirit. Section 5. The air we breathe, smoke, health, and environmental impacts. The devastation extended far beyond the immediate fire zones. Thick plumes of smoke choked the skies, casting a pall over Southern California. The air, once fresh and invigorating, became heavy with the acrid smell of burning. Wildfire smoke contains a toxic cocktail of pollutants that pose serious health risks. Respiratory illnesses spiked, particularly among the elderly and young children. Schools were forced to close, disrupting the lives of countless families. The environmental toll was equally severe. Forests, once teeming with life, were reduced to charred wastelands. Wildlife perished in the flames or were displaced from their habitats. The delicate balance of the ecosystem was thrown into disarray. Section 6. The insurance crisis. A system under strain. As the fires raged, another crisis unfolded: the collapse of the insurance system. Homeowners, already grappling with the trauma of losing their homes, faced the daunting reality of inadequate insurance coverage. Years of increasingly destructive wildfires had pushed the insurance industry to the brink. Many companies, unwilling to absorb the mounting losses, either stopped renewing policies or significantly raised premiums. The situation was particularly dire in high-risk fire zones, where many homeowners found themselves priced out of the market or unable to find coverage at all. The insurance crisis added another layer of hardship to an already devastating situation. Section 7. The price of protection. Firefighting costs soar. The battle against the infernos was a Herculean effort requiring the mobilization of thousands of firefighters and billions of dollars in resources. Fire crews from across the state and beyond worked tirelessly to contain the blazes and protect lives and property. The cost of firefighting has skyrocketed in recent years, straining state budgets and forcing difficult choices. California, once a leader in wildfire prevention, found itself struggling to keep pace with the increasing frequency and intensity of wildfires. The escalating costs highlighted the need for a new approach to wildfire management, one that emphasized prevention, community preparedness, and sustainable land management practices. Section 8. Charting a new course. Wildfire management for a changing world. The 2025 wildfires served as a wake-up call, forcing a reassessment of wildfire management strategies. The old playbook, focused primarily on suppression, was clearly inadequate for the challenges of a climate-changed world. A new paradigm emerged, one that embraced a more holistic approach. This included proactive measures such as prescribed burns to reduce fuel loads, creating defensible spaces around homes, and promoting fire-resistant building materials. Equally important was the need for greater community engagement and education. Residents needed to be aware of the risks, prepared to evacuate when necessary, and empowered to take steps to protect their homes and communities. Section 9. A collective responsibility. Adapting to the age of fire. The 2025 California wildfires were a tragedy, but also a catalyst for change. These fires, which ravaged countless homes and landscapes, brought to light the urgent need for a new approach to wildfire management. The devastation was a wake-up call, highlighting the vulnerabilities in our current systems and the pressing need for proactive measures. They underscored the reality that we are living in an age of fire, an era where wildfires are no longer isolated events but a recurring threat. This new normal demands that we rethink our strategies and adapt to the changing climate conditions that fuel these infernos. The frequency and intensity of wildfires are increasing, making it clear that we must act swiftly and decisively. Adapting to this new reality requires a collective effort. It is not just the responsibility of firefighters and government officials, but of every individual and community. Education and awareness are key components in this fight, as informed citizens can take necessary precautions to protect their homes and loved ones. Governments, communities, and individuals must work together to reduce wildfire risk, enhance preparedness, and build more resilient communities. This includes implementing stricter building codes, investing in advanced firefighting technologies, and promoting sustainable land management practices. Community drills and preparedness programs can empower residents to act quickly and effectively in the face of danger. The journey will be challenging, but the stakes are too high to ignore. The path to resilience is fraught with obstacles, but with determination and cooperation, we can overcome them. Rebuilding after a wildfire is not just about restoring what was lost, but about creating stronger, safer communities that can withstand future threats. By embracing a spirit of collaboration, innovation, and a deep respect for the power of nature, we can navigate the age of fire and create a safer, more sustainable future for generations to come. Together, we can turn the lessons learned from past tragedies into a blueprint for a resilient and thriving world.